Sairam, dear listeners and viewers of this special Thursday Satsang, a series that we started sometime last year, especially to help us stay connected to Prasanthi Nilayam and to stay focused on Swami. The series was started just as we were going into the lockdowns that was brought upon us by the pandemic. But nevertheless, every opportunity becomes an opportunity for us to think about Swami, to live in the thoughts of Swami, and that is why this has become so special. The whole idea of satsang, as Swami would tell us, is to ensure that our devotion flows in the right direction. You talk about devotion is a very spontaneous feeling, right? Either it is there or it is not there. At least that's how we tend to perceive it. And what is spontaneous, we often think, does that need to be controlled, that needs need to be marshaled? But the fact is, it is. Swami says, for a devotee, discipline is very important. And the easiest way for a devotee to ensure that the expression of devotion is flowing in the right direction is to ensure that the discipline is governed by the likes and dislikes of Swami. And it is so graceful of Swami, so compassionate of Swami, that not only does he give us the message, but he ensures that there are enough examples for us to look up to. I'm reminded of a very beautiful episode that Swami would narrate in his discourses, especially about Mata Subamma. Those were the days when Swami had just come back from Uravakunda. Swami had made the declaration. Swami would spend a lot of times in some of the hills and caves around Prasanthi Nilayam. And this great devotee, Mata Subamma, what she would do is, she knew that Swami is sitting alone somewhere. She knew a few of those places where Swami would often frequent. So she decided that she will make something, she'll cook some food and go look for Swami, because there's no other way Swami will be having food otherwise. So she would, being an elderly lady, trek this whole, hike up the hill, go looking for Swami. And finally, when she would find Swami, she would say, Swami, I brought some tiffin for you, please have. And then Swami will ask her, what have you got? And she says, Swami, I've made some idli for you. And Swami will say, idli, I don't feel like eating idli today. I want upma. So she would say, Swami, I've made upma also. No, I don't want upma, I want to have dosa. She would say, Swami, I know you might want that. I brought that also. So sometimes Swami would even make her go down all the way, make and get. And she would, not be upset about it. She would not show any resentment, and she would lovingly serve Swami. And then Swami would say, Swami said this in a discourse. Swami said, Subamma, I'm not doing all this to trouble you. Swami said, there will come a time in the future when I will point out to you and tell my devotees, this is true devotion, right? So in that manner, Swami's life is glorious. There's no doubt about that. But Swami has also allowed us to witness a few devotees around Swami. And talking about Subamma, Mother Ishwaramma, we've had an extended discussion about her, how she had motherly love towards Swami. But when she started asking this question, what Swami likes, what Swami doesn't like, that Vatsalya Prema became a pure devotee's devotion towards Swami. So many such examples that Swami has given us, and today Bishu and I have come to speak about one wonderful devotee of Swami.
Yes, I think the points that you made, Prem. One, our devotion finding a disciplined approach. That's a very beautiful lesson that all of us as devotees have to learn. And secondly, all these devotees, when it comes to Mother Ishwaramma, her prema that she had, that Vatsalya Prema, Swami transformed it to Parama Prema.
Absolutely.
And there are devotees whose Parama Prema Swami transferred it to Vatsalya Prema.
That's a good point, right?
and those tales are so moving, actually, to say the least. And we cannot but think of Mrs. Ratanlal when we talk about this Vatsalya Prema of Bhagwan. Someone who served Swami for more than 40 years, looking after Bhagwan's body, taking care of Bhagwan's kitchen. I mean, that is what generally people know about her, but there is so much more about her life, because when we look at these lives, I feel there is no need for us to delve into the life of a Prahlada or a Meera. Yes, those are great tales, but they are in the Puranas, but there are living examples of scriptures in our lives. Every time an avatar comes, along with him, there are these contemporaries. And if we really study the lives of some of these great servitors of Bhagwan, we will get all the lessons that we need for us on the spiritual path. And you look at her life. When Bhagwan met Professor Kasturi for the very first time, when Professor Kasturi is he's having this first darshan of Bhagwan, and how Professor Kasturi writes in Loving God, it was July 1948, and Swami pats him affectionately as if he has known him for years, and then Swami tells him, no, I know your promotion is got delayed, I will get that done. I know you lost your son, don't worry, you will get a son-in-law, he'll be like a son for you. I know your mother is worried. And Professor Kasturi is like stunned. And he's trying to grapple, who is this phenomenon who seems to know so much about me, and he seems to know so things about which, probably nobody else in the world knows. And then Swami says, you know what, you're going to write my Jivana Charitra. You're going to
The
write
very first interaction.
very first interaction. And Professor Kasturi, as he says, he's stunned to silence because I don't even know this person. And he says, you're the one who is going to write my life story. Don't worry, I will guide you. I will tell you whom to go, what to do. But to me, it was like, these are souls. When Avatar comes, there are souls which come to play a very important part in the mission. And Professor Kasturi was one such. Perhaps that soul had done penance, over lifetimes for that opportunity. And when you think about the life of Mrs. Ratanlal, the same parallel comes to me, because Mother Ishwaramma left her mortal coil in 1972 in the month of May. And if you see the way Mrs. Ratanlal got associated with Bhagwan, it was just a few months before Mother Ishwaramma leaving the earth that Swami had shaped Mrs. Ratanlal to look after his kitchen, to take on that role of being a mother of the physical form. And the way that happened, again, is very interesting. The way Bhagwan created those circumstances, it was actually the time when there was this India-Pakistan war, 1971 December. And 1971 November, the birthday celebrations got over. And then Mr. Ratanlal and Mrs. Ratanlal both were there for the function, and they wanted to go back to Mumbai. And Swami says, Mr. Ratanlal, why do you want to take her back to Mumbai? Do you know she has fever? She needs rest. Let her be with me. I will take her to Vrindavan. And Mr. Ratanlal says, okay, Swami, whatever you want. And then in December, there was an All India conference.
Okay.
So Swami takes her to Chennai. And after that, they come back to Vrindavan. And it is at this time that the war starts, December. And Mrs. Ratanlal also is very new to Swami. She was not cooking for Swami or anything at that point in time. First time Swami is saying, no, you come stay with me. And so she was staying in the Vrindavan ashram along with Mr. Rama Brahmam, Professor Gokak and all that. And they all used to eat with Swami. And so one day she noticed that there is this family which was sending food for Bhagwan for breakfast, lunch. And when the war started, after 4:30 p.m., there was blackouts and all movements restricted. And she saw that there was no dinner for Bhagwan one evening. And, she was very disturbed. There's no dinner. It's not only for others also, it was no dinner for anyone also. But for her, main thing was, Swami has not had anything. And she was feeling very sad, and she thought maybe next day they will make some arrangement, try to send the food before 4:30 or first day, maybe they didn't know what to do. And so next day breakfast comes on time, lunch comes on time, but again there is no dinner. And she's thinking, oh my God, there is no dinner for Swami today. And she thought, okay, maybe tomorrow they will make something. And the third day, same thing happens. When it happens the fourth day, now she gets really restless. Like 4 days, Bhagwan had not had his dinner. And the fifth day, she musters courage. And the fifth morning, she says, she tries to go near Bhagwan. And Swami looks at her and as if, Amy Samacharam, what do you want? Or something like that. And she says, Swami, you have not had dinner, Swami. 4 days you have not had dinner. And Swami does not say anything. Swami just looks into her eyes and she says, Swami, if you don't mind, can I prepare something? I don't know South Indian dishes, Swami, but I know something. If you want, I'll make something. And Swami says, I was waiting for you to ask me this. The Lord waiting. It's like Swami was waiting for Professor Kasturi to come. Here Swami is telling, I was waiting for you to ask. Go and make something. And she says, Swami, I don't know South Indian items, idli and vada. And I says, what do you know? She says, Swami, I know puri. You make puri, you make puri. Aloo puri you make. So she makes that day puri and sabji and everything. And everybody has their fill. And the next morning, she does not make anything. And because the food generally comes. So Swami says, you didn't make anything? Swami, breakfast has come. No, but you should also make something. And she says, Swami, I don't know sambar. No problem. And lunch, food is very much there. Swami says, you didn't make anything? And she says, then Swami himself goes to the kitchen. And says, see, this is how you should make sambar. This is how you should make the dal boil. And when it reaches this point, this is how you should put the masala. This is how you should do the seasoning. Wait for, the color to change to this and then add this spices. Swami teaches her how to do sambar. Next day, how to do rasam. And slowly, it was like Swami was training her, to take on that role of looking after the physical needs of the avatar. And what started in 1971 continued for 40 years till the final moment of Mrs. Ratanlal's earthly sojourn. And we have seen that how she would be so particular about every little detail of Bhagwan's, not just food, everything of Bhagwan, about his bed, about his clothes, about his kerchiefs. I mean, I remember how when she used to make curd, she would make curd 5-6 times at different times in the night, so that you have the curd with a perfect taste, which is not too sour, because she wants to do the best for Swami. And generally people know of her, especially in the inner circle, as someone who looked after Bhagwan, who was taking care of Bhagwan's kitchen. But that is only a very, very small part. In fact, yes, that was a very important part. But if you look at what Mrs. Ratanlal was doing, before she came, she was already a very successful businesswoman. She was having her own boutique. She was selling expensive clothes, expensive jewelry. All the elite used to come to her shop. So she was very well connected with all the royalty. That was professionally. Socially, she was a social activist. She was a philanthropist. She used to take care of so many cancer patients, mentally challenged children. So she was actually, her social life was more active than her business life. Personally, she was the wife of Mr. Ratanlal, who was a very important member in the Congress party. And because of that, she could pick up the phone and call any minister, any chief minister. As we narrate to you stories from her life, you will see how influential she was. She could get things done. Anybody in India, anybody she could just call and get things done. And she used everything to see that Bhagwan's mission grows. Swami is made all the time comfortable. And if you see all these beautiful talents that she had, her resourcefulness, her intelligence, her sensitivity, everything got channelized to what Swami wants. Means she was a dynamic personality. She could get anything done. But now she knew how to be dynamic, at the same time be an epitome of modesty. She knew how to be very resourceful, but at the same time be completely behind the scenes. She knew how to get things done, but at the same time be as humble as possible. And I think all of these virtues that she saw, what Bhagwan's likes, and the way she tailored her personality, endeared Bhagwan to her so much that she became virtually a part of everything that happened from the 70s, be it the Brindavan College, Brindavan Hostel, the Anantpur College, the setting up of the Sanatan Sarthi printing press, Swami's visits. She was the one who took Swami to Kashmir in 1980 because she felt Swami needs rest. He's all the time working. I have to give my Swami rest. He has to just be in the mountains. He should just be away from everything. 10 years she persisted and pleaded with Swami, you should come. And she says, I have never ever seen Swami so relaxed, so happy, so one with nature, what she saw in Kashmir in 1980. So every visit of Bhagwan, after that, she was part of it. Just like Mother Ishwarama was a part of every visit of Bhagwan before Mrs. Ratanlal came into Bhagwan's life. So every milestone in the Avatar's life after 1971, you will find that Mr. Ratanlal was part of it, but you will not read about it in the books. Nobody will talk about it. Only if you had chance to one-to-one interact with him, then you would know about these beautiful ways that she became such a powerful instrument. And as you said, it was only because the focus only all the time was, what can I do for my Swami? What is it that my Swami likes? How can I use every resource, every little talent, every little skill that I have in his service and for his happiness? And I think that focus is what made her what she came to be, a living scripture on womanhood. And in this series, we will definitely share so many more beautiful anecdotes from her life, and every anecdote is something from which we can learn tons of lessons. So let's get started with her journey to Bhagwan, how she came to Swami way back in 1965, her first darshan. Let's listen to her in her own words.
It was in 1965, just few days before Swami's arrival. He was supposed to come on the 6th of June. Swami was coming to Bombay.
Okay.
And staying with the Sawant, P.K. Sawant, who was then the minister and also trustee of Shirdi Sansthan. And he got devoted to Swami, and he accepted that Swami is Shirdi Baba's,
Avatar.
So, my husband was the chief whip at that time. So, there was a meeting fixed at Shanmukhanand Hall. So, these common friends who used to speak about Swami, they used to refer Swami as Swami. They never conveyed a Bhagwan. So some of us thought, being used to North India, that's he's South Indian Swami, well known. And
Swami was well known even in 1965.
Swami, that was the second time he came to Bombay. But first time it wasn't, and even second time when he came, the public was not such that one had to sort of plan a big place. So the meeting was fixed in Shanmukhanand Hall. And these friends of mine who were Swami's devotees, they used to come to Prasanthi Nilayam and all that. So they telephoned to me, Bridge Auntie, we have tried to get passes from Mr. Sawant, but there are no passes available. Now you must get us these passes. So there were 6 of them, husband, wife, Mr. and Mrs. Atal. Atal was working in the Union Bank, and 3 daughters and 1 niece. So my husband came back from the office and I said, please get me 10 passes from Mr. Sawant. So he said, sit in the car and we'll go just now and you try. So when we arrived at Sawant's house, he said, Mrs. Ratanlal, what are you talking? I cannot give you 10 passes, I said, these 6 people are Swami's devotees. You can't deprive them of, and we are 4 people, my husband, myself, and my husband had a niece who was born blind. And the doctor's diagnosis were that when God was distributing the limbs, he forgot to give her the eyes, you know. So I thought we will take her and my sister-in-law. So with half an hour's persuasion, he got so fed up with me, you know, that he gave us 10 passes. So we came home. On the 6th of June, my office was very near P.K. Sawant's place. And while I was going after lunch, I saw a little crowd sitting in Sahyadri lawn, not in Sawant's lawn, you know, because he didn't have a big lawn. So I went to my office. I brought 4 buckets of water with ice, lemon squash, orange squash, and started serving them. In the meantime, the crowd became little more. So this went on till 9 o'clock at night. At 9 o'clock, the police announced that Swami is still in Thana and it'll take him 1 hour. So these
police this thing
yes,
around?
yes, absolutely. There was police bandobast. They wouldn't allow us to enter Sawant's house, you know. So Sahyadri used to be the chief minister's residence. So all those staff knew me very well, you know. And some or the other, we opened the doors and we sat on the ground. Ladies one side, men on one side, and we went on. So these friends of mine, I was a very bad patient of ulcers. I hadn't had anything. They said, you come with us. We are just across the road and you have little cold milk and we'll come back. By the time we came back, Swami had already entered the house. He had his dinner and he retired. Now, not knowing Swami's ways, myself, Princess of Kutch, and her brother sat opposite on Ridge Road, you know, which is supposed to be a very posh locality. And I, in my own way, was a little notorious character because I was doing a lot of social work, you know. So everybody knew me. Opposite is K.M. Munshi's house, you know. So all the cars, we started singing that we will not go till we have had Swami's darshan. We had the good fortune that from early childhood, in those days, 100 years ago, all the parents, they had a system that we used to pray, and before we went to school or colleges, there was a puja room, and then my father, being in the education, every Sunday he used to organize his few friends and the children and give us a talk. So as I said, be good, do good, see good, no gossip, no criticism, no, you know, that sort of a thing. And few years ago, I had the good fortune that I met my guru, Lady Guru. Though I used to be not very, because before the partition, when we were in Lahore, my mother-in-law used to have all the Mahamandleshwars of Allahabad and Haridwar. They used to come and stay with us for 6 months, 100 sadhus, and we had a big compound, you know, family house, where in the evening Ramayana is going on, Mahabharata is going on, Gita is going on. So we were all used to, my husband as well as myself. So suddenly I said, how can we go? We have been whole day long waiting. Swami has to give darshan. 9:30 to 11:30, I have a loud voice and I was a good singer at that time. And I'm singing one bhajan after the other, going on singing. Suddenly at 11:30, in the balcony, it was a pitch dark. You couldn't see Swami. So Swami stood on the balcony and spoke in English. It is very late. go home, come back at 7 o'clock in the morning. And while he was talking, a big disc, golden disc, bigger than the sun, hit me on the chest. And I was singing at that time, Narayan, Narayan. And I shouted, Narayan, Narayan, Narayan.
So we just heard that episode of how she had her first darshan of Swami, and again, a lot of very beautiful things when Bishu was telling how she came to become that person who was always part of whatever Swami took up, but she remained in the back of all of it. All devotees, it is like a master sculptor making a sculpture. The first thing that he does is he finds a rock which has a certain amount of perfection. Right? Any rock or any marble does not become his masterpiece. He does look for certain qualities in a marble or a rock, but thereafter comes the skill of the sculptor. And I think you can say that about every devotee who came to Swami and came to become who they are. They do come with their virtues, but slowly and sometimes even painfully, Swami chisels them and brings them to that shape that they are. And we can find that in the life of Mrs. Ratanlal too, whom Swami used to fondly call Ammaji, right? And in that first episode, you could see glimpses of many of those traits that Swami finds or Swami wants all of us to cultivate. Probably one thing that stands out is her determination,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
She was there and she said, I've come here to have Swami's darshan. I cannot leave without having it. And it could mean that everybody tells you Swami is retired, he's not going to come back again. But it didn't deter her. She said, no, I have come, I will sit here, have Swami's darshan and then go.
Until darshan, I will not go.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that, as Swami says, no, purity, patience, perseverance. If you have these three,
Right.
then you will definitely pull God to yourself. You will yourself become God. I think that's what it was. Perseverance, that I want Swami, and no matter what, and there was so much purity in that.
The purity aspect, if you ask me, her first thought was,
Yes.
there are people gathered there
Yes.
and they've been sitting the whole day, and I think she narrates how news comes that Swami is going to be late by a couple of hours more.
Yeah.
So the first thing is, there are people who are waiting there, maybe they will need some refreshments.
Yes.
Right? That is a sign of purity, and as Swami would always say, the best way to please Swami is you take care of the devotees, and we've seen this with so many devotees. The moment they say that they've made arrangements for food or stay for devotees, Swami is so happy.
Yes.
So even though she had not yet received that training from Swami, I think she was already in the
there.
groove, if you could put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. So that purity and that patience and the namasmarana,
Absolutely.
isn't it?
Right.
I think, she said, no matter what, we will keep singing. And through our bhajans, we will pull Swami and continuously to sing. And I think the power of bhajans, as Swami would always say,
Right.
if every collective singing, you can have Bhagwan come out of his room 11:30 in the night and give you darshan. And I think that is something phenomenal. Probably there are many, many stories like this. I think everywhere Bhagwan has traveled, Swami has done things he would never do, only because of the prayers and the pining of the devotees, and that's what you see her in her life also.
And of course, what a beautiful and remarkable vision or experience that Swami gives. I think pretty unique. I mean, that's all credit to Bhagwan, that how he is able to pull each one of us in so many ways, myriad ways. Each one can speak of that journey in a way that it stands out. Swami might have 1 million devotees, but he's one Swami for us, and he ensures that that relation is.
I think that's why he's God. He's, for everyone, he's my God, and every experience is unique. And I think, but this is something absolutely stellar. We have never ever heard anything like this. First darshan, and there is this disc, there is this chakra that is coming and moving, and it just merging into you. I think that is
right.
I mean, you only hear of this in the Puranas and things like that, but this is absolutely so special for a very, very special devotee. The first encounter is absolutely unique, and
then the way she says it, I mean, how do you can imagine the amount of energy that must have been there in a person who had a vision like this. She says it was well past 11:30, quarter to 12 when she finally reaches home. Swami tells them, come back tomorrow, and she goes, She's saying she's so excited, she runs into her bedroom and wakes up her husband,
Yeah.
Mr. Ratanlal, and says, Swami is here and I had darshan.
I had seen
And,
God.
Right, I've seen God.
God.
And of course, if those of you who have known Mr. Ratanlal, he was one of the regular speakers in the satsang hall. And his favorite topic was always Advaita.
Yeah.
So he says, everything is God. What are you telling? I saw God. And she says, hey, you don't understand anything. And she says that, she spends that whole night in the puja room.
Yeah.
And
She takes her pillow and
right,
goes, I'm going to the puja room.
puja room, and she says that I'm not able to sleep. She's so excited that next morning Swami has again invited them to come and have darshan. So she says she doesn't sleep. She wakes up at 2:30 and she starts all her puja and everything. She used to do puja for 2 hours every day. That was a regular routine.
Yes.
So she says that she was so excited, so she finishes all her cooking and finishing the puja, and he was all ready to go for Swami's. Now, in our terms, the real darshan, where you're seated and Swami comes.
Vision happened,
right?
now darshan.
Now,
And I think definitely, these are such life-defining moments. And everything that we have done till now, I think all the janmas, everything that we have done till now was for this moment. And I think today, when you think about this moment, what you're going to hear now, what happened, but to us, it feels like this is the culmination of the merits, the punya of not only her life, but of her parents, her ancestors, because every time we have a moment with Bhagwan, moment with God, a tryst with divinity, it is the culmination of good acts done by generations from our entire forefathers. And I think that moment happened the next morning, and you should hear it in her own words.
So I finished my puja. I had asked my driver. So I sat in the car at 6:30 and picked up this child and her mother and arrived at Savant's house. There, all that Congress volunteers were there. They all know me. So they asked us to go and sit in front. So we sat in the front line. So at 7 sharp, Swami came. When I saw Swami, I expected like Mahamandaleshwars of Haridwar, big people, tall, big stomach and well built. When I saw Swami was not even 65, though he was how old? From
40 years old.
40. You can well imagine, for few minutes, I went on looking at Swami. Petite, so young. I said, this is Swami. There was the aura, there was, Swami is trying, there were hardly 400 or 500 people. And they became so restless that, nobody would listen to Swami. 10 minutes passed. And me as usual, social worker and not bothering about anything, not knowing Swami's ways, I jumped onto the platform and there was a mic. Swami was standing near the mic. I pushed the mic to me and started singing, And then I asked everybody to sort of be quiet and follow the bhajan. Swami looked at me up and down. I didn't bother whether it was approved look or disapproved look. I was so sort of concerned with the discipline at that time. And then I going on asking everybody, sit down, be patient, And Swami is looking at me. In 10-15 minutes, it became absolutely peaceful. Then Swami came down. I was still singing. He didn't stop me from singing. I was still singing. He went around, gave darshan to everybody and went inside the house. So we thought our darshan is over. We also came down and I went to the car, dropped my niece and I went to my office, I was working. So matter ended.
So that was her first darshan of Bhagwan. And as she was narrating, she had thought Bhagwan will be a huge figure because she had seen all these saints from North India who used to come to their house. And as she narrated before, they would stay in their house and they would serve them for 6 months. So she always had that image that it would be a very tall and very healthy, robust sadhu. And when she saw Swami, so small, so adorable. I remember, her narrating this, even during our informal conversations, she always felt like I'll go and hug him. He's so so adorable. Oh my God, he's not some saint. He's like my son. She had that kind of a feeling that I should just go and capture him. So that, and she felt at home. I think that is something which was very, very special. The moment, the first darshan she had, and she felt like, I have to look after him. He's so sweet. He's so adorable. I have to take care of him. And I think that is what propelled her to, to maintain discipline and ensure that, he's protected. And, that protective feeling of a mother, it just came out. And when Swami is coming out and people are not in discipline, and she's saying, no, I have to protect her. Isn't it? And that's what I feel.
Right. The other thing is, talking about discipline, we all know that Swami is very fond of that. But even the maintaining of discipline, Swami wants a discipline in that.
Yeah.
The way she narrates it, you can make out when she was coming on stage and taking the mic. Swami gives her a few glares here and there. But then, as we said, she's just come, and how she transforms herself to...
And generally, people will not dare to do that. Especially in the 60s, a lady.
She says that, the activist in her takes the stage. But this whole thing, again, something that she probably intuitively recognized, Swami's fondness for discipline.
Yes.
I recall a beautiful episode narrated by one of our MBA students. Swami had taken them for the industrial visit to the city of Madras and now Chennai. So Swami called this particular student, and Swami said, "Hey, you're a pharmacist, right?" So that was his degree before he joined MBA. He said, "Yes, Swami." And Swami said, "Pharmacist means almost doctor." Swami said. And then Swami tells him, "You don't go in the bus with the other students. You join my convoy. There are some elders. They're not keeping well. So I want somebody with them who can take care." He said, fine. He was, of course, feeling a little bad that he's missing his trip with his friends. But then Swami was going in his car, and behind him in the car, just behind Swami's car, he got in with some other elders and senior devotees. As Swami was driving towards Bangalore, at one particular place, Swami's car took a diversion. Right? And the convoy followed. They didn't know where it was going. And Swami drives almost into the forest. And there in a clearing there, you won't believe it, 10-15 tribal people are sitting there and doing bhajans, and they've made an altar with twigs and branches and leaves.
Oh, wow.
With a small picture of Swami, and they're doing bhajans there. Imagine, they're doing bhajans nowhere, and Swami just alights from the car, goes and stands there, takes aarti, gets into the car and comes.
Wow.
Right? And then he asks around, was this a scheduled trip? They said, no, it was not a scheduled trip. None of them knew about it. And Swami just goes there, gives darshan, and should I say that nobody fell sick in the car? Swami just wanted to, give him this thing, and probably nobody else knew about it. And this is something that has happened so many times, that devotees would be just seated in some corner and, do bhajans in a disciplined manner, and Swami will be attracted to that gathering. So in a way, she kind of understood that devotion was very dear to Swami, bhajans was very dear to Swami, and discipline was something that Swami will automatically attract. Automatically Swami will get attracted to it, and will come to you. So very, very beautiful, and a lot of lessons to learn too.
Oh, absolutely. And the way she takes on to the stage and she maintains discipline, I think you saw that aggressiveness directed towards positive and devotional outcomes all her life. She always had that courage. If something was needed for Swami, come what may, she had that guts and courage to do, and we saw that right from that first encounter with Bhagwan. And I think again she was the one who brought Mr. Ratanlal to Swami, isn't it?
Right. So I think we'll probably listen to that in her own voice, because we said she goes back after that first darshan and he doesn't seem to be too impressed. But he comes to Swami in that next trip, because on the same day, in the evening, she returns. This time she ensures that she brings her husband along. And of course, we'll listen to it in her own voice and we'll see how that turned out.
In the evening, again, there is darshan. And second day was the meeting at Shanmukhanand Hall. So I tell my husband that you have to come. He said, listen, I'm not coming. So generally, at times we could not use any strong words. We are from the old tradition. So, and especially North India, my God, a woman had, nothing, she could not assert. But for a change, my mother-in-law was sitting there and I asserted. I said, if you don't come today with me, you can get up and come back. You have always done it, so many places. Why can't you, for my sake, why can't you do that, And he said, no, I'm not coming, because he was a very strong personality. So he was more intellectual. I was more devotion, So ultimately, we went. So I said, don't sit in the front line. Because of the chief whip, he had that privilege. I said, don't sit in the front line, sit in the fourth line. Because if you want to get up, you can quietly get up. Now there are 2 aisles in Shanmukhanand Hall. Swami was going to enter from there. He would have gone from that aisle. Look at the lords, it is all preordained. Nothing is honestly in your power. And Swami comes all the way, and where we were sitting, I think his robe must have touched my husband's, And what do I see? He's jumped from his seat 6 inches, And then Swami goes to the stage and materialized Vibhuti for some devotee. And what do I see? He was not like that. Tears are running down his eyes. So, finished. We sat through the discourse. It was all in Telugu. Of course, Mr. Kasturi tried to, but no justice was done. After the function, we come out. The police had made my husband's car inside. He had bought a new car. And he was very fond of his gadgets. There was a beautiful horn with music. There was all the system of music, everything. What do I see? Everything has been stolen and the car is in shambles. So he says to me, listen, you come out. Generally, I thought he would get very excited. He was cool and calm. Very strange. We come out, he says, no, you take 2 taxis. You have got a habit. You will sit with my sister and you will send that girl with me. Let the sister and the girl tell my sister, go home. And we go home. We took 2 taxis. We came home. The driver went, whatever formality, some or the other car was brought.
So that is how Mr. Ratnalal comes for darshan. Someone who did not want to come, someone who wanted to sit right at the very end, but Bhagwan goes that side, and I think that electric shock kind of an experience that he had, it's a common experience, and this is something that I've seen with so many people. That first darshan, the first chance of sparshan, first Pad Namaskar, it does something, it opens up something. You are never the same again after that moment of touch from eternity. And I think that's what happened with Mr. Ratnalal. And to get a real example of the impact of that darshan, as she says, by the time they came back to pick up their car, they saw that so many gadgets from the car were stolen. And I remember she saying that, generally Mr. Ratnalal would, in normal circumstances, he would have definitely got mad, because it was supposed to be a new car.
And he was very fond of his gadgets.
Yes, very fond of his gadgets, yes. But very surprisingly, he was not mad at all. He says, I don't know what happened. He was so calm. It's like this whole darshan he was so overpowered with that experience that this seemed like absolutely insignificant. And, and she goes on to narrate how all he was asking is, tell me more. That's all he wanted to know. Tell me more about this Baba. So I think that is what happens. The moment God enters your life, everything else becomes insignificant. Everything that was good, noble, sacred in you comes to the prominence. Everything that is not so good in you, your anger, your desires, everything somehow goes back to the back burner. And I think that is the experience that Mr. Ratanlal had.
And of course, the other point that Swami would often make, the role that women play in bringing the men in the family to Swami. A clear case of that. Swami would often say, I recall in a discourse, Swami had said, looking at everybody gathered, that he said, every man here has been brought because of either their mother or their wife.
Oh, yes.
Right? Because Swami said that they are the first ones who are able to recognize divinity and develop that devotion. We could see that in her case also. And after that, it's only a spark, right? It just takes one spark to take on from there. But the whole idea of going through the life of Mrs. Ratanlal, or any devotee for that matter, I think it's very important, even as we listen to these stories or any other stories, not to look at these devotees and say, oh, they must be some great devotees and great beings. That they are, there's no doubt about that. But I think these are examples for us. The analogy I could think of is, imagine a teacher in the class. He or she would write the lessons or the equations or the problems on the board. What is written on the board has to be copied onto a notebook. It is not that the board is more dear to the teacher, right? The whole idea is that is an example, and what has to be followed should be in our own life. So I think that is how we need to look at these devotees' lives and the kind of devotion that they express for Swami.
Yes. And we don't have the excuse to say that, Prahlada's times were different, Dhruva's times were different. At that time you could do, now it's very difficult. Times have changed, we have so many distractions today, we have this pressure today. But I think if you look at the lives of devotees who were contemporaries of Bhagwan, and if we study their lives, I feel we will find enough inspiration, and we will find no reason to not make that effort to walk on that path that Bhagwan wants us to, and begin our journey of this sanskar, paropakar leading to sakshatkar. There is so much more. So we will come to that. In fact, even before she came to Bhagwan, there were signs. There were signs that Bhagwan had given, and that happens in everyone, all of our lives. And how that happened, and how Bhagwan was already telling her that I'm here, see. So we will come to that, and in the coming episodes, we will go to the invitations that Bhagwan was giving her, and slowly how she became a part of Bhagwan's avatarik life and mission.
So with that, dear listeners, thank you for joining us. As Vishu said, we will come back to you with subsequent episodes, with more episodes from her life in her own narration, and with that, our reflections on what we can learn from them. Thank you for joining us this evening. Take care. Jai Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.